Hello and welcome to another Game Nexus video. Today we're going to be doing a bit of a little experiment here. What you're going to see me do is place a little bit of Soul Calibur IV here, and I'm actually recording this in high definition at 720p 60 frames per second. This is actually being recorded on the Elgato Game Capture HD on my PlayStation 3. And the character I chose to play with here is Shura, who was an exclusive bonus character only for the Soul Calibur IV game on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. So when they made the game Soul Calibur Broken Destiny, which was the PlayStation Portable version of this basically, they took all of the bonus characters out, including the 3 Star Wars characters who were Yoda, Darth Vader, and the Apprentice. And the only bonus character you got was Kratos, and of course they also added Dampier, who eventually became a downloadable content / free character, I believe, if you bought it at certain retailers. But I always think of Soul Calibur Broken Destiny kind of like a stepping stone between 3 and 4. You can see some of the things like the cards that the characters are displayed on, and some of the things that would later become part of Soul Calibur 5 there. Well, besides the whole thing where they took every character that was ever great in Soul Calibur out and put in their like cheap imitations. But the another thing I'm actually doing in this video, other than doing the 720p 60 frames per second, which I'm very much hoping Sony Vegas will actually encode well enough for YouTube to be able to actually display it, is I'm actually doing, normally the way I'd record my commentary track, which you're hearing right now, is I'd have Audacity in the background, and I'd actually be recording it while I'm watching the video in Sony Vegas. That way I actually can make sure I'm syncing the track right, because I can then hear a little bit of the audio from the video in the audio track and then just sync them up right. But this way, since it's actually recording it while I'm watching it, I know it'll be in sync. And I can actually see now, unlike my last take, I actually had done this whole audio track once before, and it didn't record, it actually just played, because you have to hit ARM for record on the audio track, then you have to hit record on the bottom instead of play, which I just hit play. But Shura here, if you're not familiar with her, she is a, basically she plays very similar to Cervantes, except with some moves she's a little bit faster, and of course instead of wielding the Soul Edge and the other little sword that he has with the gun, she wields the katana, which I thought was really a cool thing. And of course she's female. But as I had mentioned, I was really annoyed when they actually took her out of the game and they didn't include her in any later games. I was really hoping, like, I remember having online matches with a friend of mine with this. We'd play this game all the time, and I can remember hoping that in Soul Calibur 5 Shura becomes a full character, kind of like how when Amy was introduced in Soul Calibur 3, and then in Soul Calibur 4, which of course is this game, she became a full character. And on a brief side note, I know I'd probably mentioned it in one of my arcade play videos for Soul Calibur 3 Arcade Edition. She became a full character in Soul Calibur 3 Arcade Edition, and then I'm guessing they enhanced her moveset even more for this game. But one thing that really bothered me about Soul Calibur 5 is that you have such an excellent game with Soul Calibur 4 here, all the different layers of it. You have even got the new armor breaking system here. And then they took the whole game and they just messed it up by taking just about all the characters out and adding their cheap imitations. Like, instead of having Taki, you had Natsu. Instead of having what's her name? Sophidia, you had Piraya or whatever her name was, can't remember what her name is. Instead of having Song Mina, you have this very annoying male character whose only like character trait I can recall is that he liked to eat a lot, called Shiba. And I swear when I first saw that on paper, like you don't have Song Mina and you have Shiba, I was like, I hope she's a cool character. I'm like, oh, Shiba's a dude, and not only that, but he's annoying and he just likes to eat food. But if you notice, those first few matches were seemed a little bit not so great. I haven't played Soul Calibur IV in a while. This is like my first time playing this, so I could honestly say I wasn't as like good with how to play this game, because the most Soul Calibur I played other than this was maybe a little bit of Soul Calibur 2, the arcade version, and then of course Soul Calibur Lost Swords a little bit, which is that free-to-play game where you only get certain characters and you have to like do all kinds of weird things to unlock other ones. And sadly in that one they had Song Mina, but the only time I saw her available to unlock so far as of the time of making this video, you had to like buy some sort of like super ultra premium item thing, and you'd get the unlock key for her. But right now the way this is hooked up is it's hooked up through the D-terminal connection, which is if you've had a PlayStation 2 and a PlayStation 1, it's that video connection in the back, which actually the PlayStation 3 does have. And the reason that that happens is that the HDMI on the PlayStation 3 uses HDCP, and unlike the PlayStation 4, which you can actually turn that off, you can't turn off the HDCP on the PlayStation 3, so you have to either use the D-terminal cable that came with the Elgato, or component cables if you're using a different device like the HD PVR Rocket by not Roxy, I think it's like Hauppage, or the Game Capture HD by Roxio. You have to use component cables for that. But it was kind of cool that Elgato actually thought of how to capture this console for their game capture device. The other device that Elgato has is a Game Capture HD60, which captures 1080p 60 frames per second. But the only drawback of that is you can only, at this point, of course there's going to be more consoles in the future, you can only use PlayStation 4, because you can unencrypt the HDMI, Xbox One, Wii U, and Xbox 360. You can't use the PlayStation 3 due to the fact that you can't turn off the HDCP, and it does not have the port which you would plug either your D-terminal or component adapter in. But I definitely have to say, even after all these years, this game came out back in like 2008. It's still an excellent looking game, and I'm just hoping that when I upload this to YouTube, YouTube doesn't end up eating the video and making it look horrible, like some of my past HD encode attempts. Because like the first HD encode attempt I did, other than what you're seeing right now, is I tried one of Vegas 13's new encoding in 720p things, and it didn't end up too nice. It ended up looking kind of ugly because it lost some of the quality. And then I tried just directly uploading from Elgato software in 1080p, and that one lost a bit of quality too, which annoyed me a lot. But what I'm going to try to do is encode this in 720p 60 frames per second at probably a fairly high bitrate. If I recall correctly, I actually looked on YouTube, and if you do like 30 megabytes per second on 720p, you're going to have really high quality. But we'll see if that actually does anything, and something tells me that's actually higher than what you're seeing right now, but who knows. I'll try my very best to make this video look good, and if this turns out to be a good experiment, I will do all my future videos in the same way. But I'm just glad I discovered this way to record the commentary, because it really helps, because I no longer have to sync the audio and video, so all I have to do is worry about my levels. So the game audio is not playing over my voice, and you're hearing very loud game music, and then you're just not hearing me at all. And of course, just about all the wind poses and everything that Shura does are mostly Cervantes. But I just loved all the modes in this game. Like, you had arcade mode, which is what I'm playing right now. And then you had the story mode. And just all kinds of things, like the, I think it was the Tower of Souls, if I recall. There was the Soul Arena, which had some extra one-player modes. And of course, online play for the first time for the series. And now, if you don't recall correctly, the reason why the Apprentice, Darth Vader, and Yoda are in this is because this was kind of a crossover with Soul Calibur and Star Wars The Force Unleashed, which is a game that came out around the time this game came out. I think it may have come before or after this game, don't quote me on that. But the Apprentice is the Darth Vader secret apprentice, which at the point of this game being made, they were saying that this game was that Force Unleashed was actually canon with the storyline, but since Disney bought Lucas, they said that nothing but the movies is actually canon and everything else is like alternate universe. But since I really haven't played through Force Unleashed at this point, even though it actually came with my PlayStation 3 when I bought it, I really can't vouch for how great or good this game is, but I hear it's like a really awesome game. But one thing I definitely have to say is, like, even not playing this for a while, I was able to get through this with actually only losing twice once, which, spoiler alert, you're not going to see until the next match. I was surprised I was actually able to get through the Apprentice without losing more than once here. And the thing that I always hate about him is he always tends to be very cheap with like all his force moves and all his crazy lightsaber flourishes. And I could remember times where like it would actually add a lot of my time. I'd like get to him like in 5 or 6 minutes, and then it wouldn't be till like 10 or 15 till I like finished him off. But somehow I was able to pull it off here. And for some reason, seeing the Star Wars level here reminds me a lot of the Nassau station from Dead or Alive 4, which was the level for the Spartan character, who a lot of people I remember calling Master Chief, but it really was like Spartan 468 or something silly like that. And now, just like the Apprentice, Algol's another character where I remember losing so much to him when I first played that it added like 10 or 15 minutes to my actual playtime. And one move I can honestly say that I don't think he does in this gameplay that I remember him doing a lot when I played against him is the one where he like all of a sudden like he's in his throne and he lands on you. And of course, just like Abyss before him, until you figure out all of Algor's patterns and all the moves he does, he just seems like one of those impossible bosses. I would even go as far as to say like Jinpachi from Tekken 5 is another one of those characters. It seems like Namco like had been on a roll with their like SNK level bosses. Because if you ever played a lot of the SNK fighting games, they always had those like very hard bosses. I could even remember like Dead or Alive 3 with Omega, also known as Genra. He always had that like impossible type feeling to him. And that's just one of those boss battles that I can remember first doing it for the first time thinking, you know what, this feels really epic. It just feels like this is like much more than like the normal game would be. And Algol here is just one of those characters that you can't give him an inch or he'll take a mile and he'll just defeat you very quickly. And then, of course, I just retried there, and this time I actually do beat him. And all in all, I didn't get too bad of a time in this gameplay. Unlike Soul Edge, who was the mutated version of Cervantes, and then Nightmare, who was the mutated version of Siegfried, and then of course Abyss, who was a mutated form of Zosalamel. Algol I don't believe is a mutated form of anybody. He's actually just his own character. But yeah, it goes without saying Soul Calibur IV is an excellent game, and I just really wish that they would return suit and just make a great Soul Calibur 6. And yeah, of course, an arcade version definitely wouldn't hurt. But yeah, I'm hoping this HD video experiment actually turns out really well. And of course, you'll see for yourself if you're actually watching this if it turned out well or not. Well, this has been another Game Nexus video, and I will see you later. Bye. Also, I really wish that she would have some sort of move that she'd bust out all, like, 4 katanas somehow. But then again, she would have to, like, have 4 arms like Goro if she was gonna do that. But I will see you later. And you'll see my best time before was 1908, now it's 8:50, so there you go. Later.